Hi, so I'm Kristen and this is my husband Mike. We originally planned on starting a YouTube channel, basically just kind of describing our day-to-day lives of how we interact with each other with having physical and mental disabilities and um, just kind of like, I guess, showing how I do things differently, he can do things differently, and just, I guess, how we go through life. And just help other people who are like us. We wanted the channel to be kind of like light and kind of funny and goofy and stuff, but unfortunately the first video that we are going to make has a more serious and sad undertone to it. So kind of backstory, I have TAR syndrome, which is thrombocytopenia absent radius. Basically all it means is I have low platelets and that I'm missing the radius bone, which is the bone from your elbow to your hand. There's two bones. There's the radius and the ulna. I'm missing the radius. Some people with my condition have an ulna. I do, but it's only like an inch or half an inch, something like that. It's not really, there's like, it's pointless in there, but I do have it. So, but basically, yeah, I have that. 31 years old, pretty much do everything like completely by myself. For those that know us personally, Mike was in the Marine Corps and was gone a lot during those 10 years. And I, took care of our daughter by myself. I drive, I get dressed. I pretty much do anything that anyone else can do. I either with adaptations, but usually without. Like I just kind of figure it out and can do it. So today we decided to go to King's Dominion, which is an amusement park in Southern Virginia. I've gone to this amusement park probably over 50 times in my life, if not more, probably closer to 100. I grew up going there every summer with our family or my family, and then you never went as a kid, did you?
No.
We're kind of fading out. Let me go back to focus. Okay, there you go. He
Dork.
He's never been until last year was our first year. He got out of the Marine Corps. He medically retired, and then we came to Virginia, and so we got season passes, and we went all last year, and started going again this year. Never had any issues or anything. And today we decided to go with a group of friends, people that Mike has known for a while. And so we decided, get our families together, go and have this, great day, riding rides, having fun and everything. So we were there for maybe 2 hours already, going around, going different rides and everything. Again, nothing normal or out of the normal. Everything's fine. And for those that have never been to King's Dominion before, they have this ride, and it's antique cars. And the important part, they're on a track, and you basically go around in like a circle, and she's calling you. You basically go around in a circle on a track at like 10 miles an hour. This is a family ride. Kids usually drive this. I think you have to be over like 45 inches or something like that. I could be wrong, but Aria just missed the cutoff, and she's, I think, 41 or 43 inches, something like that. So it's basically, a little bit older, not like infants or like toddlers can ride it or whatever. They want pretty much you tall enough to be able to press the gas pedal, I believe. That's the only really rule that they have. Like we looked all around there, we were standing in line for a good 40 minutes. This is one of my favorite rides. Like it's just a fun, like nostalgic ride that I've been getting on, for years. Like I've always, just gotten on this ride and drove. So we're in line, and it's me, Mike, and our daughter. She's 5. And then it's our friend Chandler, his son, and then a friend of theirs' daughter. So we're fine, we're in line and everything. and they tell us to go up to number two, like you have to have, or you go up into like the line, and it's like little corrals, I guess, that way you can go onto each car and it's just kind of faster moving. So we go up into like the corral, and they're behind us, and they're like talking to the guy and this and that, and they're kind of like, and I look back, I'm like, what's wrong? And they were like, oh, and Chandler's like, well, I have two kids and they're a little bit younger and they need an adult to ride with each kid, like one in the front seat and an adult in the back seat with the other kid. And I look at Mike and I was like, oh, go ride with them. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, it's a car ride. Yeah. Like, I've been on this a million times because I don't really like rides. Like, to be honest, like I don't like the big scary ones. And so he's always like, do you want me to ride with you? Are you okay? And I'm like, it goes 10 miles an hour. I'm perfectly fine. You go ride with Chandler, and we got this. So we get ready to get into the car, and the supervisor comes up to the gate where me and my daughter are standing, and he just kind of like goes at me. He's like, you can't get on this ride. And I look at him, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, so your arms, you can't hold on, and you can't get on this ride. And I like almost laugh. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what do you mean I can't get on this ride? I've been on this ride like a million times. I grew up on this ride. Like, this was one of the few rides that my entire family could get on because my mom doesn't like rides either. My sister's not a big fan. Like, this is something we all got on. And he's like, well, our safety guideline states that you have to have at least one full-length arm to hold on to ride this ride. And I'm like, I have two arms. Like, what do you mean full? Like, what's the measurement? Like, what's considered full length? And so he's like, telling me that I can't get on. And I'm like, I have a driver's license. I've been driving since I was 18 years old. I'm 31. I'm like almost laughing. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a toy car. Like, it's a ride. Kids drive this thing. And he's literally just like dead serious, like shaking his head like, no, like, you're not getting on type thing. So I'm like, at this point, Mike leaves Chandler and he like comes over and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, they won't let me get on the ride. And he like almost starts laughing. He's like, what do you mean they won't let you on the ride? I'm like, he told me I can't hold on, therefore I can't ride. Now, this isn't a ride that you need to hold on to for dear life. It's a 10 miles an hour car ride. Like, I drive faster, way faster. I mean, the merry-go-round goes faster than this ride. Like, I'm so confused and I'm just like looking at the guy, and I'm like looking at Mike, and I'm just like, I don't like know what to think. And the guy's like, I was like, can I speak to a manager? Like, what? And he's like, yeah, but you need to wait over on the other side. Okay, so the guy tells me he's like, you have to wait on the other side of the platform where, all the cars are. And I'm just like, at this point, like, are you really kidding? Like, is this really happening? So I walk around to go on the other side, and I'm just kind of like dumbfounded at this point. Like, how do you react to that, to something you've done a million times? How do you just all of a sudden are not allowed to do it? So I'm sitting there and standing there on the other side, and at this point, our daughter, she gets on to the car, and she assumes that I'm walking around to get in on the other side. And so she's looking at me, she's like, come on, Mom, get on. And I'm like, babe, I can't. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, babe, I can't get on. And so I tell Mike, I was like, well, you and her just get on. Like, she loves this ride too, just as much as I do. So I'm like, just let her get on it and you guys can go. And I'm just going to stay here, and talk to a manager. And I figured, honestly, like, at this point, like, I would just be like, what's the problem? The manager would be like, employee mistake, get on the ride, have fun, and it's like a 5-second glitch or whatever. Like, I don't really think, anything's really going to come about it. And so I tell him, like, just get on the ride or whatever. And at this point, Arya's like starting to cry. She's like, Mommy, why aren't you on this ride? And I'm like, babe, they won't let me on. And she's like, but Mommy, you love this ride. And at that point, it's just like, it hits you because I'm like, yeah, I do love this ride. I've been on this ride. Why am I not allowed on it? So, and she's like, I don't want to ride without you. So she gets off and on the other side of the platform with next to me. And then Mike comes over. And I tell Mike, I was like, well, you go ride with Chandler and the kids. I was like, don't spoil it for them. And Chandler's like, no, like, if you can't ride this, we're not going to ride it. Like, it's not right that you are not allowed on this ride. And so I'm sitting there waiting, and we're waiting for like a good 20 minutes just for a manager to come over. And the meantime, the entire time this is going on, the supervisor, I don't want to say his name, like, just in case anything happens with this or whatever. We're just gonna give me a name. Bob. We'll call him Bob. Okay. So Bob, who's the supervisor, he is a supervisor. He has on his shirt supervisor, which means he wasn't just hired there yesterday. He's been there. He's been trained, all this other stuff. Not once does he speak to me the entire time that we are waiting for this manager. Does not say, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, and just doesn't say anything. He just keeps on putting people on the ride or whatever. And now, the car that I did not get on, everyone else had already got on, because like you come out into a row and it's like car 1, car 2, car 3, and car 4. And then they send them all off. And then while they're all setting off, the next 4 cars come into line and everyone gets on, and then they send them off. Well, because we didn't get into our car, they put it in gear and sent it off. So this car that I could not drive is now being driven by nobody. Let that sink in for a second. Nobody is driving this vehicle, but I can't drive it. It's safer that nobody is driving on a track that you can't go anywhere. Track. And I forgot to say this, but I even said this to the guy, to Bob, while we were kind of like discussing. I even said, where am I going to go? Like, you can't crash it. You literally, it's a foolproof ride, a 10 mile an hour on a track ride. And I literally said to him, like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, really? You jiggle a little bit? I mean, there's nothing that could happen. So we're waiting, and then the manager comes over. And by this time, I'm like in tears because I have everybody looking over at me to see that I've been pulled off of this ride, or not even pulled off. I wasn't even allowed on it. And you have to kind of like speak a little bit loud because there's cars and like the engines and everything like that. So the manager comes over and she's like, what's the problem? And we explained to her, we're like, this guy, Bob, is not allowing me on the ride. And she's like, I understand it's kind of like a black and white situation. I can understand like if he didn't let you drive, but you still should have been allowed on. I'm like, I still should have been allowed to drive. Like, what do you mean I can't drive this vehicle? It's a kid's ride. And she's like, well, you have to be able to be safe on there, and this, and you have a seatbelt. It's 2 bench seats. There's a seatbelt on a track. I can drive how much does a pickup truck weigh?
Like 3,600 pounds?
Yeah. I can drive a 4,000-pound vehicle, but I can't drive a ride at the King's Dominion because it's so dangerous. So dangerous that no one can drive it. Like, I'm just like dumbfounded at this point. And like, I'm upset, I'm embarrassed, I'm angry, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like, is this like, it's almost like an out-of-body experience. It's just like, you're looking at this situation, and I cannot believe what they are saying to me. And so she's like, hold on, let me go call, I guess it was her supervisor or whatever. And I'm just like, okay. So she goes and she makes a phone call or whatever. Again, Bob still doesn't say anything to me. She comes back and she's just like, well, I can understand, he handled it wrong, but, if you want to get on the ride, you can, but your husband needs to drive. And I look at her, and again, I say the same thing. What the hell is going to happen if I drive? What is the worst thing that could happen? What do you mean I can't drive? And I even show her, like, try to show her my driver's license. I was like, I have videotape of me driving the pickup truck, Mike's pickup. It's a freaking Tacoma. Like, it's a nice size pickup truck, and I drive it with no adaptations whatsoever. I move the seat forward. Well, technically he moves the seat forward because it's manual, um, but other than that, there's nothing different. My old vehicle was a freaking Jeep Grand Cherokee. I've driven a minivan. I'm like completely dumbfounded, and like I'm just embarrassed and upset, and I see like people like looking over and like just seeing all this, and we're telling the lady like, this is not right, like this is completely discriminatory. He didn't even say, like if he would have came up to me and been like, hi, I'm really sorry, I'm not familiar with your condition, can you show me that you can properly handle this vehicle, which again, it's not even a freaking vehicle, it's on a track, but can you safely operate it, or can you show me that you can hold on? He didn't do any of that. He literally walked over to me and said, you can't get on this. That was it. He looked at me and automatically assumed I could not do it. And the kicker of the whole thing is I was actually wearing my shirt that says actually I can on it. And apparently to him, no, I can't. So the woman's like, he handled it wrong or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And at this point, I'm like starting to cry because I'm so mad and upset. And she's like, if you want your husband to drive, like, no, I don't even want to get on this anymore. Like, this was probably one of my favorite rides of all time. Like, it's something I've been getting on since I was a kid. I drove it at like 9 years old. And she's like, so for your inconvenience, you can have some fast passes. I can skip the line, but I can't ride the ride. That's really helpful. I don't have to wait in line, but I don't have to wait in line to not ride the ride. Let that one sink in. So, glad I cracked you up, honey. So, at this point, like I'm a mess. Like I'm just like crying. I want to punch somebody, and you just don't know what to do. And so, they want to go and they're like, don't let it bother you. Just kind of ignore it. We have this whole day here together. Just celebrate it with friends and have fun. And I'm like, all right, let's try to do this best we can. So we go, and there's a log ride that they want to get on. I'm not a big log ride person. I kind of, the heights thing, again, which is why I like the car ride, because it sits on the ground, goes 10 miles an hour. I mean, that's why I like it. So they all get on the car ride and everything, and I like, I just need to call and talk to my mom and my sister and just kind of, bring me back down a little bit. So I'm calling, I'm talking to them, and it's funny because I'm explaining the story to my mom, and there's this lady next to me, and her facial expressions, I wish I could have recorded it, because they went from like, are you kidding me, to oh my God, and she's just like, why? And then she's kind of like chuckling, like, because I'm like losing my mind, and my mom, I'm like, I can't believe they effing did this, and I don't cuss, and I'm like dropping bombs like it's nobody's business, and this lady, she's just like, oh my, like she couldn't believe what I was saying. And I'm like starting to calm down a little bit and everything, and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, if they didn't let me on this ride, is like, what's gonna happen the next ride? Because usually I really like the Roman Rapid kind of ride, and we've never been on that one at King's Dominion because Aria's never been tall enough. Well, I think she's tall enough this time, and I didn't even want to get on it because I was afraid to get up to the front and they'd be like, oh, well, you can't hold on to this either, sorry, and just turn me away. Like, what else is there that they're not gonna let me do? And it already completely crushed me once. Like, I didn't want to sit there and go and have it done again. So I'm just kind of like sitting there, and they're on the ride, and I'm like, you know what, I want to call and like just complain to corporate, because I'm not the only disabled person that goes to this place. So I call them, and the guy is like really cheerful on the phone. He's like, thanks for calling King's Dominion, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm at your park right now, and one of your employees just completely discriminated against me. And he's like, oh, well, why don't you go down to customer service and, just talk with them. And like cheerful as anything about it. I'm like, okay. So I get off the phone with him, and by this time, everyone gets off the ride and all that. And I think everyone was just kind of like, it just killed the mood. I think for me, Mike, and Arya, and
The rest of the guys we were with.
yeah, they just, um, yeah, babe, yeah, go get your tablet, but you gotta take it downstairs, okay? Um, yeah, it just kind of like killed the mood, I think, for everybody, and so yeah, it just kind of like killed the mood for everybody. So we're like, you know what, by this time it's like 4 o'clock, and honestly, when we go, and we're there until closing every single time that we go, and it was barely 4 o'clock, and we're just kind of like, yeah, we're done. And we have season passes. We live 20 minutes away from it. We go all the time and ride this ride all the time. It's usually one of our last rides that we do while we're closing out the park.
It's your favorite. That's why we go to it.
Yeah, like we go on it every time that we're there, and we go almost like every weekend. It seems last summer was like every weekend.
Every weekend, every other weekend.
Yeah, like even there was times he got off of work and we'd go for like an hour in the afternoon just to kind of like get some energy out of Arya and just spend time as a family. And so everyone's like, we're just gonna head out. So I told Mike, I was like, go on ahead and take Arya to the car or whatever. And well, she wanted to stay with me, but he had to go and wanted to go walk them out, and he had something for them in the car. And so we sat there, and me and Arya went over to guest services, and I was asked to speak to a manager. And the manager comes over, and he's like, can I help you? And I it was like, hey, I have a discrimination incident with one of your employees. And he automatically knew like everything. He's like, oh, Bob, blah blah blah. Well, I heard the manager, we're just gonna say her name is Tina. He's like, I heard she handled it, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, trying to tell him, the incident. He's like, yeah, I already heard all of this. And I'm like, okay, well, what's gonna be done about it? Like, you're not explaining how you're fixing the situation. And I explain everything, to him again, and the whole time he just kind of feels like he's just like blowing it off. Like, at least with Tina, she did seem like somewhat concerned, but again, like, she can only do so much herself. And this is the rides manager, and he's just kind of like, he was told not the whole story or something different. He's like, let me go check, and let me come back out and talk to you. And he comes back out and talks to us, and he's like, shows me this manual or whatever, and it says that you have to have at least one working limb or one working arm and one working leg to operate this car. And I look at him and I'm like, I have four limbs. Again, you're showing me a rule. And he's like, well, it's kind of black and white, of what these, they know what you can and can't. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's black and white, I have four limbs. That's black and white. Like, if you're gonna sit there and go exactly by the book and say, really?
Hold on.
You're looking for your phone?
No, I'll tell you why. I took a picture of the sign for warnings for the ride. Guests with following conditions are prohibited from riding: recent surgery, heart trouble, high blood pressure, neck trouble, back trouble, or pregnant.
Yeah, and I have none of those.
Or any physical condition that can be aggravated by this ride,
but that's more of hurting the person. Yeah. Like if you have like back pain or neck pain or stuff like that, like it doesn't say anything about having physical limitations, or not being able to drive it, because again, it's a kid ride that goes on a track at 10 miles an hour. And so, he's like trying to explain to me, it's black and white, but he's just following the rules. I'm like, he's a supervisor, and that's not black and white. But like, he completely judged me as soon as he saw me. Like, he didn't sit there and again say, I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar with this. Can you, demonstrate it? No, he just completely from the start, you can't get on this ride. Not you can't drive it. Not no. Can you show me that you're okay? Or do you think someone else can maybe drive? No, just flat out, you cannot get on this ride. So, and the guy's like, I'm telling the manager this, and he's just like, yeah, And like he's like, yeah, I agree with you. And again, though, I'm like, okay, well, something needs to be done because I'm not the only disabled person in that amusement park, and I'm not going to be the last one either. And I'm 31 and I had a hard time with it. What's going to happen to a 14-year-old girl who, because my condition, yeah, it's rare, but there are so many people with limb differences. What's going to happen to the 14-year-old girl or 12-year-old boy who go up to that ride and get turned away because of it? Like, it really messes with not just like your self-esteem, but just, I was even just thinking to myself, not even a couple of days ago, like I'm 31 and I'm finally like 100% okay with myself and like of who I am and everything. And to sit there and to have this person just kind of take that all away from you over something so stupid. And, I'm telling this guy, how you need to train people better. You need to do something about it and not just sit there and be like, oh yeah, we'll speak to him. It's like, no, that's not enough. Like, it's going to go in one ear and out the other because apparently he was trained already, had extensive training if he's a supervisor, and not did they even cover it? Like, did they go over any of it? And I even went on to King's Dominion's website and looked extensively through everything on their page, and they talk about being all inclusive, and the only thing that it mentions that if you're an amputee, that certain roller coasters you do have to take your prosthetic off because they're afraid it could come off during the ride and either hurt yourself or somebody else, or I guess get lost or whatever. There's two like really big roller coasters there, and they said that you have to, if you're an amputee, you need to wear a harness to kind of strap yourself further into the seat because I guess because you can't hold on to it, so you need to help, put yourself in this harness. But other than that, it doesn't say anything else, especially on a freaking little kid ride that goes 10 miles an hour on a track. But the guy's sitting there and he's like, but for your trouble, because you had to come up here, to guest services to wait, a few minutes. Here's 3 more easy passes. Can't ride the ride, but I got 3 more easy passes. I can now not wait in line 6 times to not ride this ride. Yeah, I have a stack of easy passes. Or whatever they're called, fast passes, quick queues, whatever the hell they're called. I don't have to wait in line to not ride the ride. Yeah. So, that right now is, I guess, I don't say like dilemma, but just my issue right now. And about even going back there, because are they going to do it again? Like, am I going to go get on that ride and they not allow me to get on again? Or do I go to get on a different ride and they tell me, sorry, you can't ride this ride? And sit there and to see Aria like just so upset because she's 5, she doesn't understand. She's like, why can't you get on? Especially when she's seen me do it. She's like, Mommy, you love this ride, come on, get on, it's your favorite. And I'm like, I know, but she didn't understand that they won't let me on. And you were saying you felt bad because you kind of felt helpless, and it's like, that's the thing, like there's nothing you can do. You can't sit there and as much as you want to punch somebody, you can't. And you just kind of gotta,
that would have gone really well.
Yeah. So I guess mainly the main message with this is just to share this and to get publicity out there. And that's really the only thing that I guess I want out of this situation. Like, I wanted to turn it into something positive if it can help somebody else, if they can sit there and put pressure on them to do more training, to sit there and to realize that you can't just look at somebody and automatically assume they can't do something, especially when I'm trying to show them video of me doing something even bigger. And I'm just like, and I even said to the woman, I was like, so all those years that I've driven this ride, like, why can't I now? Like, my arms didn't shrink. Like, they grew. Like, why could I have done this for the last 30 years? And well, 25, because I think it was like 5 or 6, like the first time I rode it or whatever. I was young, because I even remember like sitting in the front seat, and I think I have a picture somewhere in my baby book. I'm steering it, and my mom or my dad is in the front seat pushing the gas pedal because I had leg braces on and my ankles didn't flex, so I technically couldn't press the gas pedal. They pressed the gas pedal while I steered. because again, it's on track. Can't crash. Can't go anywhere. It's on track. And like thinking about this, like I started like looking on YouTube when we got home, and there's video of this little boy in the front seat, like turned around talking to his parents in the back seat with no hands on the wheel, and it's still going because it's on track. And I told Mike, like, I don't know whether to laugh or cry because the vehicle that we were supposed to be on, they sent it on its way with no driver. And so it was safer for an empty vehicle to go around than to have me. Like, it's like, I just want to almost laugh because it's so crazy and just stupid and outlandish that I even have to have this thought for a second that, I mean, and that's like, you know, they were like, oh, well, we'll train the person better. We'll talk to this person. It should never have happened. I never even should have had to have think, why can't I do this? Or why won't they let me on? Or to see the faces of everyone looking over at me like, I can't believe, like, there was two girls that kept looking over, and their expression was just like, are you, like, why weren't you letting her on the ride? And like, I was sitting there holding Aria on my hip for a few minutes. Like, I was holding her, and I'm like, I can hold her. She's 45 pounds, but I can't drive a car on track at 10 miles an hour. So yeah, I keep,
Because it's on track.
Because it's on track, and I keep emphasizing, like, it's on. What's the worst that could happen? And they never answered that. They kept telling, and I even told the guy, I was like, hop in the back seat and I'll drive you and show you. And he's like, well, it's a liability. To do what? Where am I going to go? It's on a track. It's not. And honestly, I could understand if it was like go-karts or bumper cars. I don't know, like something where like I was actually in control of the vehicle. And maybe they said, can you show us that you can control the vehicle? But I didn't have to because it was on a track. So I'm just completely, I guess, at loss for words at how the hell this could even happen. And I mean, and I think I'm laughing now just because I've kind of like had my crying and anger, and I got all that out earlier.
You took a 2-hour nap when we got back because you were so worn out and
I was just
upset about it.
I was so, just mentally exhausted the whole time. Like I didn't even want to think about it, and I just went home, came home and I just went to sleep. And now, just thinking about it, I'm just like, what? So, but yeah, that's, if anything, just share this. And again, I'm not Bob or whatever. Like, yeah, I really am disgusted in you, in just the fact that you looked at me and you automatically assumed I couldn't do anything rather than ask a question or even try to understand it. Like, you just looked at me and said, sorry, you can't get on this. And when I tried to show him video, tried to explain it, he just shut me down completely and was like, no, sorry. And just shook his head the whole time and like just completely ignored me. And so I'm very disgusted in. And again, I'm not trying to, I guess, exploit or get anything. Like, I just want this to be shared or viewed, so to bring awareness, because this shouldn't happen to anybody, not me. And like I said, God forbid they do this next time to a teenage girl or a teenage boy who's very vulnerable. And it's hard when you have something different and you're already trying to make sure that you feel included and that you can do everything that yourself, and you want to feel like everybody else. And when this kind of thing happens, which 31, and I've never experienced anything like this. Like, so, if this were to happen to somebody else, like, I would hate for them to feel even the slightest bit of what I felt today. So yeah, just, get the word out. Maybe, I don't want to say like pressure them, but maybe it'll open their eyes to train their employees better, or just have more, I don't want to say like sensitivity, but just understanding and knowledge that just because someone looks different doesn't mean that they can't do the same thing that the other person can do. I mean, God, I'm such a better driver than him, and he's got both of his arms. I mean, you can look at our driving records. I can tell you I'm way better at driving than
I haven't had an accident in 10 years.
how many has he had before the 10 years? Yeah, I've never not
made me a better driver.
See, 100% on my driving test. By the way, 100%. Been driving for 12 years, 13 years, something like that. 18, 28, 29, 13. Yeah, 13. Wow, at this, I'm tired. Hence the pajamas. 13 years I've been driving. No, knock on wood, no accidents, no speeding tickets, no nothing. But I can't drive a car on track at 10 miles an hour at an amusement park. Let that sink in. So, yeah, I'm gonna go get some ice cream and just kind of, I guess, let this stew in my mind because, again, I still can't really wrap my head around it and just kind of pissed. That's the best way to put it. I was beyond pissed earlier, but now I've kind of settled down a little bit and just that pissed. But so yeah, just please share this and just, I guess, get knowledge out to everyone to be more aware, I guess is the best way. I don't even want to say like inclusive or anything, but just be more aware and not ignorant toward other people's abilities, or I don't want to say disabilities, or just, you know, who they are and what they can and can't do. Anything you wanted to add?
When the situation happened and I first went up there, I thought he was joking, or at least be like, come to a conclusion where she could drive and ride the vehicle. Like, you know, after we explained it to him.
Yeah, or like showed him like we had video of me driving the pickup,
which we showed to him.
Yeah, or we tried to. He wouldn't even look at it. He was just like, no.
Because the funny thing is, we were making a video because we wanted to start the misadventures of Rex and Miss Rex and Spaz, and we were gonna show that you can drive, you can cook,
right? That I can do everything that anyone else can do. And so, yeah, you videotaped me, like, not even a week ago.
Yeah.
Of me driving the truck. So we were like, this is perfect timing. And I even have photos of me on that ride. And we're trying to show it to them. And they're just like, well, like, there's nothing that's changed between then and now. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And the guy wouldn't even, like, look at it or anything. And, like... I'll cover it up. Like, I
tried talking to him. I didn't know there was only so much I could say. If I got aggressive with him, that wouldn't have helped anything.
Yeah.
And as much as I wanted to punch him in the face, that would have just got us banned from the amusement park.
Right. So, hold on, babe. Sure. Yeah. Oh, alright, it's something. But I'm gonna try to cover this. Like, I even like tried showing them my driver's license. Like, state of Maryland issued me a driver's license, but King's Dominion won't on track. I'm emphasizing the on the track. Like, I'm just completely like pissed and dumbfounded about just the whole thing. So. Yeah. But all right. So yes, this turned into like a 30-minute video. But yeah, just share it so we can raise awareness and they can just not be ignorant and be more aware and have knowledge on how to deal with situations way better than the way they handled it today, because it wasn't even just about confusion or, you know, wanting to know if I could do it, or, you know, he just saw me and automatically, you can't ride it, and wouldn't even take any type of reasoning or explanation or stop picking your skin, take any type of comments or, you know, from us, and just wouldn't even acknowledge anything. And for him to be a supervisor like that, I think is what pisses me off even more. Like, it wasn't just someone that was hired last week and has no idea, you know, what they're doing. It was an actual supervisor. So he's been doing this and he's been trained extensively, and yet he sees someone and the first thought is, nope, they can't do it, sorry. and to just have an attitude, and then to have the other two people, the other managers, again, like pretty much tell me the same thing. And like Mike said, I expect maybe they come over and I show them the video and be like, oh, yeah, he's wrong, hop on in, have a good time. No, they were like, well, yeah, you could ride now, but your husband still has to drive. Like, really?
Like, but here's a quick pass.
Yeah. But I have 6 of these. I don't have to wait in line to ride the non-ride. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we are going to get off of here. Yes, I'm in my pajamas. I'm comfy and cozy and had a long day.
Mine too.
So, all right. Well, thank you for watching. And again, just get awareness out there so stupid people like this can't do this again. It's ridiculous. So, all right. Thanks for watching and bye.